Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here coming at you from the KnifeCenter. And guess what? It's our favorite time of the week yet again, because we're taking a look at the coolest new knives that have just hit our shelves. All right, first up this week is much anticipated. They're finally here. Our Demko AD20 exclusive with the whale shark Tonto blade shape. Here they are. They are, our first batch of these is in today. We are launching them today. Should be concurrent with the premiere of this video. Chances are they could go very quickly. So if you're looking at this later and they are not there, I do apologize. But we will have more. I don't have an ETA on those yet, however. But anyway, let's talk a little bit about it, shall we? Obviously, the one people are going to be super excited about is the textured titanium version. This is the full-size AD20 made in the USA. This is not the 20.5 Taiwanese-made model, which is, of course, smaller, thinner, more affordable, yada, yada. But because this is the USA-made model, not only do we get this cool exclusive blade shape, but MagnaCut blade steel as well. Awesome, awesome option for this knife. For a hard use, tough stainless steel, kind of hard to beat MagnaCut for its well-rounded selection of qualities these days. Holds an edge a long time, plenty tough like I mentioned, and stainless. You've got the shark lock as well, which is also plenty tough. Great matchup with this blade. It is ambidextrous, being spine mounted like that, and allows you to do that blade flick. It sounds so satisfying. Almost like a bolt action in a rifle, like coming home. It's always excellent. It's gonna be $650 for the Thai versions. Some slotted and no slot blades available with or without this cutout right there, which gives you just another option for opening in addition to the thumb studs and of course just the wrist flick. Awesome. The balance on the titanium ones is really good. I'd say it's right there on the index finger, but we are gonna have G10 versions as well that are gonna cost about $200 less. These are gonna be about $450. The balance is a little more blade forward on this. So instead of right there in the index finger, it's like, you know, 1/4 inch, 3/8 of an inch forward, something like that. You feel it a little bit in comparison, but it's not too bad. Several colors. This is the black without the slot in the blade. Some of the options, actually the black is the only option. We're gonna have the non-slotted at this time, but there are other colors. Same great action. The G10 handles are also lighter weight. We talked about the balance, and that makes it a little less big in a way. Actually, let me see, are they, yeah, the thicknesses are about the same, it looks like. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure the titanium ones weren't thicker, but no, they are not. These are just lighter, a little bit less. Like I said, $450 for those. There's a green, a desert tan, a bright yellow, and the black at this point in time. Link below while they last.
And gone.
It's possible. We never know. We never know with these sorts of things. But thank you for the Demkos for bringing these out to us and allowing us to, you know, come to them to create a custom blade shape for us. We think they turned out great.
Having a whale of a time.
Whale shark of a time.
Guess that.
Because, you know, mammal, fish.
I'm not sure which it is.
How about a bird? The QSP Woodpecker in stock now. Check this out. Very like premium EDC type folder for not a super premium price. Not a cheap price, but $228 and some change is not bad for what you're getting here. 3 3/4 inch blade, M390 steel, so great edge retention. Nice versatile shape, high enough of a flat grind that this is going to be just all around useful without being too thick or wedge-like in its blade. Titanium handles, milled titanium pocket clip, single position however. Frame lock, flipper. It's a titanium frame lock flipper, just done by QSP and done very, very well. You can check these out now. I like them. I am, however, more excited about this next one. This is the Mustang. So we're just doing animals here up front, basically. Check this out. $237 and some change, but look at it. Oh man, it's awesome. Just over 3 inches on the blade, M390, drop point, high flat grind, nothing game changing there. But these handles, The handles are actually wood. It's raffia wood, but tell me that doesn't have like that same kind of look as mammoth, like fossilized mammoth tusk. It's so sweet. Like, I just keep looking at it. I'm not even sure what this inlay stripe material is on the bolster, but it looks fantastic. Great shape, usable for everyday use as well. Just, yeah, it's about a 3-inch drop point, so not a lot that can be wrong with that. Mid-mounted lockback. I especially love on this piece of wood, both sides, but especially on the back, the way the grain of the wood is hitting the back, it almost looks like it's bolstered on the back on this particular one. Again, each one's going to look a bit different because of the natural material. On top of that, you're not just getting the knife for the price, you're getting a pretty sweet leather sheath too. It has a snap there to just hold the knife in, and you can carry it horizontally or vertically on your belt. And it's nice and stiff leather. Not like crunchy leather, but it's nice and rigid feeling. Nice thick welt there on the side. That's very cool. That's just a very, very cool knife. Next up, for a little bit more money, we've got a 2024 edition Buck Duke, coming in just under $300. 2024 limited edition, as you can see from the markings there on the back, and Boss heat-treated S30V steel. Nickel style or stainless steel bolster, carbon fiber handles, pocket clip too on this. That's the essentially the same shape as they put on like the 110 and 112 Ranger Sports a couple years ago. Those were black, of course, but you get a deep carry clip on this knife. Not reversible in this case, but that's pretty cool. I don't know if this is the first time we've seen a pocket clip on the Duke, but it's the first time I can remember anyway. Nice, fairly neutral handle with just a bit of drop. It's kind of that 110 style shape, just smaller. Blade itself coming in at 3 inches. Let me measure that real quick just to make sure. It might be like 3.02 inches. Each one might be a little bit different depending on how they were finished, but that's a 3-inch knife. Long pull on this side for opening and kind of classic slip joint style in a way, with the tail-mounted traditional lock back there. Straight clip point on this blade, high hollow grind, just very, very cool. Now, as far as I know, they're not going to, the actual number of these knives being produced is not going to be capped, but they are only going to be making this version for this year, so keep that in mind. All right, let's show some more affordable stuff now. We've got a lot of expensive stuff here at the beginning. How's $54 sound to you? Sound good? You can't buy a car for $54, Tom Thomas, though. I'm sorry. Don't even try it. A car that runs.
Eventually?
We're going to have to hash out these terms before we go further. Check this out. The RoseCraft Obed Creek Bow Trapper Slip Joint. $54. 3.1-inch blade, D2 steel. I like that blade shape. I like the high flat grind on there. The little swedge is nice. It's just nicely done. The handle is actually what really surprised me though, and I'll get to why. You've got the polished green handles, you've got the skull inlay there, but it's the shape that threw me for a loop. I thought, looking at this on paper, that this was going to be too aggressive of a banana shape to the handle. However, thrown in the hand, with the grip kind of right there, like with your fingers wrapped around it, not necessarily palmed and gripped, but that precision style of grip with your fingertips, feels awesome. Quite honestly, it feels controllable. That tip is going to be very easy to point where you want it to go. Just really nice. And the fit and finish overall is really nice too. There's literally nothing here at all to complain about. The polishing is all done super nicely. The edge is nice and even and nice and keen. The grinds are great. They're doing a lot with these RoseCraft slip joints for the money. Seriously. Here's another for just under $50. They're Savage Creek Gunstock with that Gunstock inspired handle shape, 2.8-inch D2 blade. Same things I said about the Obed Creek. Yeah, sorry, Obed Creek. Same things apply here in this case, but you've got the spade on the shield or the inlay right there. Nice snappy action, great blade shape. Yeah. What else do you want to know? Ask me questions about these RoseCraft slip joints in the comments because they're pretty cool. Next up, traditional, but a little bit different, a little bit surprising, kind of like these RoseCrafts. An Opinel, what am I gonna say next?
I don't know, it's your brain.
Fillet knife. Here it is. It's 37 bucks. This is a number 15 Effile ring lock folding knife. The ring lock, of course, because you have their ring lock there. But this is literally like legit, full on a fillet knife. This is a flexible stainless steel blade. It do the flexy. It has that thing you need that when you want a flexible fillet knife. They could have just made it that shape and used their standard steel, and it still would have been awesome. But this is pretty sweet. I like the handle color here in red. There's a few different colors. You've got this and the standard, undyed, unstained color. Pretty dang cool. Folds up, as is typical of Opinel, in a very narrow shape, like so. Twist the ring to unlock it, and twist it back to lock the blade open. And there you go. It is a wood-handled knife, especially there at the joint, so if you are using this for fillet duty, make sure to try and keep that clean and dry so you don't get any swelling or anything like that. Good for food prep, might be a decent boning knife, might have too much flex for a boning knife. It's just cool. It's cool to see something different. Would not have expected a flexible fillet knife from Opinel, unless they've made it in the past and I'm just living under a rock, which is possible. How about another longer than average knife? This one's only slightly longer than average, however. New version of the Military 2 from Spyderco. The all blacked out, all tacked out version, 247 bucks and change. You got your 4-inch S30V blade with the full flat grind and that nice aggressive profile. Drop to the edge, and the angle of the handle is going to let you use all that belly quite nicely. And it has all those ergonomic and functional refinements on the handle versus the original Military. Those refinements, of course, are multitudinous. Manyfold? Manyfold.
There's a few there.
There's a few there. First, obviousest of obvious ones, compression lock instead of liner or frame locking, which means you have finger-safe closing actions. Your fingers never get in the path of that blade as you're closing it. You also get a very strong locking mechanism due to the way that lock operates. You've also got a 4-position pocket clip, something the original Militaries being all tip down lacked. So you can have a tip up Military if you want. And you've got a more traditional, or traditional might not be the right word, a finger choil here, more in line with the rest of the Spyderco lineup. That's how we'll say it. That is going to allow you to get right up there behind the edge, and you still have, because of the jimping and the shape, a little bit of protection from sliding forward onto that edge, even when you are choked up, which is quite nice. This grip has always felt really nice, especially when you combine it with the ramp there to get around the hole on the back there. Feels very precise, feels very, very nice. So originally you had the Military, then you had the Paramilitary, then you had the Paramilitary 2, then you had the Para 3, and it wasn't until all those came out that they came back and did the Military 2. But let's go to one of the Para 3s now. New version of the lightweight Para 3, and this is just a new color. You've got the pink injection molded handles, 141 bucks, BD1N steel, the same steel as the standard lightweight version. You've got the compression lock here again, just in a much more lightweight form factor. Weight on this knife, 2.4 ounces, so very easy to carry, yet still full gripped, thanks to, in part, that finger choil right there. Just very nice to hold on to. Reversible clip is the wire clip there. Always has a nice presentation or look from the outside. Yeah. This one needs a little bit of breaking in, but I've owned one of these lightweights before and they break in quite nicely. Pretty much just as good as the standard versions. Made in the USA, both of these, of course, made in the Golden, Colorado factory, which is why it says that right there on the back. All right, next up, a couple more, or one more right now. Finger safe locking, unlocking mechanism. This is the Vosteed Thornton. Comes with their Trek lock, as they call it, but that is the button lock with the race or the stop pin, whatever, all the mechanism inside the blade. So you don't see an actual stop pin on the outside. It runs in that track inside the blade, which is pretty cool. $79 for this version. You've got a 14C 28N blade steel, so easy to hone and still takes a super keen edge. Stainless, tough, holds the edge respectably well too. I've always been a fan of it. Blade length, almost 3.2, modified sheep's foot profile, just a heavy working feel to the knife. And a lot of edge for the amount of handle you have right there. It definitely feels like they packed as much in as they could. Yeah, you can see how close it comes to the end right there. Maybe we could have gotten a tiny bit more, but just nitpicking now. Let's see. We have a single position pocket clip. It is flush mounted, which is quite nice. Or not flush mounted, it's inset, sorry. With flush mounted screws, which is quite nice. Actually, I'm seeing something right here. What's this? Thomas, what's this?
I don't know.
Do you know what that is?
It's shiny.
Hang on a second. Am I missing something? All right, comments section. I'm sorry to do this to you because I'm the one who's supposed to know these things. What's with that? Does anyone know? Maybe we'll have an update in the FAQ in the future. I'll tell you where I went wrong. It almost looks like a magnet, like the magnet bar for like kitchen cutlery. Like a little strip of that.
A visual guarantee it's full liners.
I mean, it's the only... Is it the liners? It's the liners. This has been a learning opportunity with David C. Anderson and Thomas from the KnifeCenter. Yeah, it is the liners. That's the only other shiny bit of metal in there, and they're coming up and... Huh. And that's where they're secured. Yeah, the little screw hole right there. It's holding the liners right there. There's no other screw holes going on. Everybody, thank you. Say thank you, Thomas.
You're welcome.
Back to the knife. So, we have that button lock right there. It is pretty nice and recessed, doesn't stick up too proud, so that's harder to accidentally hit when you don't want it to. And we have 3 ways of opening. You've got the wrist flick, we've seen that. You've got the thumb studs, and you've got my nemesis, the front flipper. Let's see how it goes. Okay, not too much of a problem. I will say, watch your grip when you're unlocking this, not because you're in any danger, but depending on how you're holding it, you actually might hit your finger with the flipper tab there, which might impede the closing action on it. Still, it's a Vosteed, so it's solidly built, and for the price, you can expect to get more than you pay for, basically. Speaking of, oh, I didn't even realize the price on this one. This is the Mini Labrador. You've got materials, 14C28N blade steel, about 2 3/4 of an inch long, titanium handles. Thomas, what do you think the price is? Have any wild guesses?
$55.
Ooh, that would be really sweet. No, $69, which is still pretty darn sweet for a titanium handled knife that is built this well. Yeah, I mean, it's small, but nothing feels compromised in this knife. The fit and finish is there, the tolerances feel right, the blade is ground exceptionally well, it's nice and thin on the edge, feels very sharp. How about that? Nice smaller sized knife for folks with smaller hands for everyday carry. Decently sized knife and fancy enough to be a gentleman's knife, but not so fancy you would feel out of place carrying it other places either. There's a lot going on for that. Ball bearings in the pivot, of course, with the frame lock. Flip it again. I have 0 complaints about that. In fact, that's pretty darn sweet. Yeah. All right. One more finger safe locking folder today. New version of the Drop Bear has just landed. Obviously with the more premium handles, this is Nebula FatCarbon, that kind of red, white, blue, and black motif. Blade steel S45 VN, which is the first Kizer I can think of with that steel, which is kind of nice. And you've got that 3-inch kind of, it's not quite a spear point, but that 3-inch drop point blade with the blade tip itself just a little bit below that center line. Not too thick, full flat grind, fantastic all-around blade size, shape, and geometry, especially when you put the handles on it that you've got here that give you enough to have a more robust grip on that knife when you need it, but are small enough that when you just want to be a little more precise, they're not getting in your own way either. This features the upgraded pocket clip as well that is kind of, rounded over, crowned, chamfered, whatever you want to call it right there. Makes it feel nice and comfortable, especially when you are gripping that knife hard, which I said you could do. And let's talk about the lock. I love a crossbar lock, you folks know that. This is the, crack. What do they call their thing? What does Kizer call their crossbar lock, Thomas?
I'm gonna come in clutch here.
Clutch lock. Thank you. Basically, what that means is the springs on the inside, one end is wrapped around the crossbar and the other end is anchored in the liners. You can actually adjust where in the liners those are anchored, so you can adjust the tension on the blade. I've always said that's a cool feature. Do you need it? I don't know. Feels pretty darn great out of the box on every clutch lock knife I have ever experienced. I've never felt the need to do it, but you can if you want to. How about some fixed blades? Well, that's what we're gonna do. You have no choice. We'll start with a more premium one, but one that's not astronomically priced. Dogwood Custom Knives. This is the Echo series. This is the Echo-3, which means it is the production version of the Echo series. The Echo-4 uses the same blade with handmade handles, and the Echo-5 is the full custom versions. But what you're getting here for just $200 is American made, from the blade to the handles to the sheath, everything American made, S35 VN steel, just over 4 inches in length from tip to scale right there. Great shape for just about anything. Let's be honest. High flat grind, not too thick. Thickness there is that 1/8 of an inch? Sure is. I need to really get my micrometers calibrated. I've been like doubting myself more and more, looking at things and saying their thicknesses and such.
You gotta change your eyeball fluid every 3,000 blinks.
That's what it is. That's what blinker fluid is. We just solved it, you guys. The handles. A few different options that we have in stock right now. This is the G10. We've also got a couple different micarta colors, and they're each available with 2 different milling patterns. This is the checkered inlay mill. There's also a fluted mill, or the horn pattern, as Eastland is calling it. Dan Eastland, Dogwood Custom Knives, that's the guy. But yeah, they're just super nice. Everything about them, like, it's got everything you need. Say, like, you need an outdoor knife, doesn't matter what you're doing, this is gonna be a great thing. Unless you need a bigger knife, this is gonna be it. Hiking, camping, hunking? Sure, hunking. Hunting too. Bushcrafting. Yeah. Comes with a JRE Industries leather sheath. Full package right there, ready to go, out of the box. $200 USA made, like I said. The handles are shaped really nicely. They fill the hand, not too aggressively much. You could always add liners to them if you wanted to fatten them up a little bit, but they just feel nestled in super, super well. Love it, love it, love it. Next up, we've got, if your fixed blade budget is a quarter of that, I understand, and I have an option for you here too. New Condor version, riding on the handles that started with the pterosaur. This is the Trog from Condor, coming in $47 and some change. The blade itself is 4.2 inches long, a little bit more pointy than the pterosaur, but it still has the Scandi grind like the pterosaur. And it comes with their kind of primitive cave-style finish. I think, did this debut first on the cave lore? Thomas, you don't know. Why am I asking you? But it's got that really cool kind of hammered, napped finish to it, which is just really cool. The handles themselves, injection molded, not too slim, not too thick, just plain works. Kind of the same as that Echo-3 we just talked about. And the protruding tang here on the back features some jimping. So gives you a little more grip in an inverted grip like so, or a little bit more traction for your thumb in an inverted grip, being more specific. And might even scrape a fire steel or something a little more effectively, because you've got kind of more facets, more angles going on in which to strike. And of course the sheath, fully ambidextrous, injection molded, drain hole at the bottom. Very, very complete package for a price that is going to be pretty attainable for pretty much everyone out there, unless you're like really straining on a budget and then, use a little caution. Then more. Then there's always more. One more Condor, and this one, I'm really digging this in hand, you guys. This is the Carlotus Parang. 114 or just under 115 for this. Comes with an excellent leather sheath here with a snap and a pivoting belt loop or rotating belt loop. 1075 carbon steel, about a 10-inch blade. Not all of that is sharpened, as you can see, and there's a reason for that. Standard grip with the hardwood handles here. You've got a nice flare and a drop to the handle, so even though it's not really like, aggressively contoured, a swing with this is going to feel pretty secure because the flare and all that is going to keep it from sliding too far forward in your grip, provided you are maintaining a solid grip. And you are maintaining a solid grip, right? There you go. Thickness, oh, here we go. 5/32. My chrometers don't let me down. 0.165. So yeah, somewhere around there. Not too bad. Still, calibration would be nice. Convex geometry to the edge itself, right down to 0. And like I said, not sharpened all the way, so you can actually choke up on this. And the balance point for it, when you do that, check it out, is right there. What's nice about that is, when you're holding it like that, you're not really fighting the weight of the handle or the blade, which means it does small stuff way better than you think it might, because you're, again, not fighting the blade itself. Very cool. And then when you don't need to do the small stuff again, choke back, you got a little extra weight here and that downward cant because of the way that handle holds. That means it's going to chop quite effectively too. Very cool. Well, that's all we've got to show you this week. Let me know what you thought down in the comments. What were the big questions we had this week? Did we have one? We figured out that the liners were there on the Vosteeds. We figured that out. I don't think we have any other big questions.
Well, whatever comes up, the answer is 42.
Yeah, almost always. Anyway, let me know what you thought down in the comments, and to get your hands on any of these, act quick on those Demkos though. Check out the links in the description to take you to KnifeCenter.com. Don't forget about our long-running Knife Rewards program, because the least thing we can do when you buy one of our knives today is give you some free money to spend on your next one. I'm David C. Anderson from the Knife Center. That's Thomas behind the camera, and we are signing off. See you next time.